start fighting for the front. Take those empty spots. Take a back seat in your business. See right there. See right there. All right, you guys ready?
Yes.
All right, man. I hope you guys are ready. This gentleman right here has been my personal coach mentor for the past 8 years. You guys okay?
Yes.
That's all right. And this gentleman's going to drop some bombs on you, exactly what it is we do to help the client, put them in a great financial situation. So please give a big round of applause for CEO MD Nick Lancaster.
Good evening.
Good evening.
How's everybody doing?
Great.
All right. Let's get started here. Let's do this. How's everybody doing? Good?
Great.
Fired up?
Yes.
All right, let's jump right into it. I do want to go over something really quick because I feel it's a big deal. Let me pull this up really fast. Did you guys get our WeChat? You guys are all on WeChat, right?
Yes.
Okay. Here's one thing I want to get clear on WeChat. It's not just for people that are getting a result. It's to let us know you're in the game. If you're not on WeChat, you're not in the game, okay? Let us know you're there. Let us know you're getting the messages. Let us know you're excited. Let us know you have activity. Let us know you're doing something. If you're not on there, it means you're not engaged, you're not focused, and you're not in the game, okay? You should be sending messages daily. I was meet with another SMD on Sunday, 2 days ago, and literally, like in the time that I had lunch, like 37 WeChat messages on his chat on a Sunday. Ours, like 0. People just putting like anything, like everything. People communicate. People having conversations. Hey, where are you prospecting at? Oh, I'm on the corner. I'm over here. Hey, who wants to go do this? And hey, where's the eating after the meeting? All right, we're going over there. Okay, who's gonna be at the office making calls? Oh, I am. Oh, I'm on my way to a KTP. I'll let you guys know how it goes. And then by the time we got, so that was like the first message, and then that same person came back around and was like, hey, great appointment. We got to follow up to write a $300 thing. And the other person's like, oh, that's awesome. When's the follow-up? And they're having like dialogue. Like, you know what I mean? Like, let's get active, let's get engaged, let's get in the game, right? So let's utilize this tool because it's a huge tool, okay? Sound good?
Yes.
Let's get on that, man. Let's get on that. Let us know you're alive. Let us know you're doing something, right? Okay, so let me pull this up real quick. Actually, give me 1 second. Let me go back. Okay. You guys see this? You see this? Okay, cool. So we have a special announcement. You guys saw the WeChat, right, the other day?
Yes.
So this is something that we're putting on right now. Launch of a new era, exclusive to this team. Okay? We're calling it MD Factory. This is going to be a class that we do once a month. What we're doing with this class, let's talk about it. So it's a leadership development program where we're going to be building strong MDs within the base shop. So when you go to SMD, you know how to run a business. Okay? So it's going to be a class once a month, and it's going to be a quarterly thing. So it'll be 3 classes, 1 per month for each quarter. So we'll do class 1 in October, class 2 in November, class 3 in December. This isn't Elite Academy. This is just like a after BPM boot camp. Okay, just like an after BPM boot camp. But it's going to be specific to helping you build a business, okay? Let's talk a little bit about it. What is MD Factory? It's a program designed to build strong MDs. Write this down. It's a program designed to build strong MDs, right? One of our outcomes is for you to not only hit MD in the next 90 days, right, going through this class, right, but also in the next 6 months to get your watch, earn your $50,000 watch. The next 3-6 months, right, to get your $50,000 watch. It's MDs with strong leadership and business foundation, right? So we want, you're not only going to hit MD, but we want you to start building MDs underneath you so that you're poised to go to SMD, okay? MDs with big cash flow, like we said, the watch or even the ring in the base. right? So Cash, who Matt was referring to, Cash is in his, I think mid-30s, I think.
Yep.
And he just went over $1 million a year income. And this guy, out of the top 10 MDs in the company, he had 4 out of the top 10 MDs in the whole company over the last 12 months in his base shop. His base shop was over 2.5 million points in his base shop. He's doing 200,000 points a month in his base shop. He's got a factory. He's got a leadership factory. And he's building strong leaders within the base shop, not promoting them out until they're strong and solid and equipped to lead teams when they go to S&D, right? And these are big teams, big base shops we just talked about. Strong Mastermind Alliance. So this is a course where we encourage everyone to go through. We encourage the leaders to go through, and then now you're driving your teammates through it. You don't have to be an MD to go in the class. You got to be, you just got to be an agent, within the office to attend the class. And we're going to be teaching systematic stuff, and then more higher law and the how-tos. The how-to on the KTP, the how-to on the fast start, the how-to on the one-on-ones. Duplication, 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 okay? Building independent outlets, meaning you can get a result on your own, right? So those who participate, we are doing a special marketing director promotion, so we're gonna be giving out an MD Factory t-shirt, like a polo shirt. So when you hit MD or you go through MD Factory, and you hit MD, you're gonna get this marketing director shirt, okay? Here's the deal. Here's the deal. This is the big one. So that was just what we're going to be doing the next 90 days. But what about, how do I get to MD? We're giving you a special promotional run right now. If you go do 5-5-30, 3 months in a row, September, October, November, 5-5-30, 3 months in a row, right? Consistent. So if you go do 15, you still got to do 5, right? You got to do minimum of 5 each month on recruits. Okay, you got to do 5 and 5. If you do more 1 month, great. You go do 15, great. You have to do at least 5 each month though, okay? In a rolling 3 months, we have a little disclaimer here, 25,000 points minimum, right? Not just writing 5 baby term apps or 5 Everests, right? But 25,000 points. By the way, the company guideline is 40,000.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is geared towards you building a foundation where you now have 15 new agents. How many do you need to hit SMD? 10 minimum, right? 10 license minimum. This starts to lay the foundational groundwork for you to go build a profitable business. Not so this is enticing to hit a title, but it's really building a foundation where you're now hitting, right? You're building your team. You're consistent with applications to now start rolling to where you can get to MD. While you're going through MD Factory, you're getting more people into MD Factory as they go. So it's not like once October hits, if you recruit someone in November, they can't go through MD Factory. No, absolutely they can. It's going to be class 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3 the next quarter. If someone gets in on class 2, they go 2, 3, and 1.
Yeah.
So the information will just, right? So if they're learning fast start and one-on-one on one of the classes, then the next class they're learning KTP and whatever, and the next time, right? So each class they're going to get value from, and it's not like they're missing out on information. They'll just, right? They'll go through their 90 days. If they come in December, let's say you recruit someone in November after the MD Factory class, and they start in December, then they go December, January, February, right? So you go through this class, right, and you hit MD through this class, then that's going to put you at MD, and then now your job is to now build other MDs through this. But now, what I'm telling you right now, this is not going to be an all-the-time thing. This is right now. This is September, October, November leading up to Wealth Bowl. No one in the company does this, you guys. No one's doing this right now. Actually, there are other teams doing this right now, just so you know. But here's the thing. They're only same exact thing. They're doing it right now. They're doing it right now leading up to Wealth Bowl. right? And I'm not saying like everyone's doing it and you're guys the last ones to find out. No, there's like one other team in San Diego doing it, and then we're doing it. Right?
Yeah.
So we collaborated with SMDs. We said, look, we're going to put this thing on. We're going to piggyback it with a class, a boot camp once a month to get to get your knowledge and your expertise up to the contract level. Because you could be a training associate, go blast 5.30, be an MD, and still not know what the heck you're doing, right? So we want to piggyback through this promotion run, giving you the boot camp, right, and the extra material, not just what we teach in these classes, which is incredible, but the extra time and effort we're going to put in and knowledge and value we're putting into you to where you know how to successfully run a business, right? So like a lot of the MDs or SMDs or even a lot of my field trainers in here run their own team operations within the base shop. That's what we want to build. Yep. We're going to build leaders within the base shops, okay? So that's a big deal. You guys excited about that?
Yes.
Who's not an MD in here? By show of hands, who's not an MD? Almost everybody, right? So shoot, this is a great opportunity for you. This is a great opportunity for you. So if you already have teammates, you already have, so by the way, this is team. This is you and your team. So if you have teammates, this is you and your team. You got a couple of teammates, this is you and your team doing 5-5. So if you got a couple of teammates, that's you, right? Now, one thing it doesn't say on here, the minimum is 2 personal. You have to do 2 personal. So like, let's say you have 4 people on your team and they all do 5, you do 0. Nice try. You're trying to ride the work of your team. You got to at least do your 2. But here's the thing. This is a great opportunity for you to hit a higher contract. This might be your ticket to becoming full-time, right? You're at on a Transamerica business, what, at 62%?
Yep. 62%.
Right, 40% advance, 60 and then now you're able to override some teammates, right? You're becoming a more solid field trainer. You're able to go get a result on your own. You're bringing people in, right? You're able to do your own interviews and fast starts, etc. That's the name of the game, right? Who's gonna go on this run right now? September, October, November.
Requalified.
For MD. Okay. Okay, that's the deal. That's the deal. That's the deal. 5-5-30. By the way, we should be doing this already anyways, and now we're just giving away MD. But if that's what you need to go, to get busy, go do it. Go freaking do it. Anthony, you gotta kill this, dude. You gotta kill this. You gotta kill this thing. Someone should go blast 5 like in the next week just to prove that they really want this really bad. Right? Let's double and triple in size in here, right? Double and triple in size in here. So that's what I wanted to go over. Once a month on Saturday after the BPM, we're looking between like 1 and 4. That's what it's gonna look like, okay? We will give you dates when we get specifics because we're doing it once a month. It's gonna alternate. We're finding the days in between the elite academies, and it'll be just one Saturday. It'll be right after BPM. You just maybe go grab, you'll do your interviews or whatever, meeting after meetings or whatever with your team. You'll go grab a bite, bring the food back, or whatever the case may be. We're gonna blast from 1 to 4, okay, once a month, okay? So think about this, you guys. We're taking the extra time. Not only are we doing elite, think about what's getting put on me. I go and run Elite Academy twice a month for the next 3 months. And then on top of that, 1 Saturday a month, right? Plus BPMs and Monday morning full-timers and Momentum Mondays. Like, we're taking the extra time to invest into you guys because we know that our team is, the team's the future, right? You guys are the next leaders of the company, right? So don't take this lightly. Let's make this thing a big deal. Sound good?
Yeah.
All right. So I wanted to share that with you. Let me shut this down here. I want to talk to you guys about a book that I was reading. Started reading over the weekend, and it's called Extreme Leadership. I'm sorry, Extreme Ownership, and it's by Jocko Willink and gosh, the other guy. Let me pull it up. Hold on. I don't have the book with me. It's on my post.
Yeah,
Breyer. Yeah. Shoot. Yeah. Let me pull it up. If you're not following me on Instagram, do that too. While you're at it, that's good. I don't care if you follow me or not. Jocko Yeah, Jocko Willick and Leif Babin. And so these guys were, Jocko, I read like, dude, like I blasted through like 4 or 5 chapters in the last like couple of days. It's like, I can't even put the book down. This is the book that at the last Elite Academy that John Cordero was talking about. He played that video with that guy.
Yeah.
So he was the head Navy SEAL. He was like the the chief commander. He was the commander, chief commander, whatever it is. I forget the exact title. He's the head guy, basically, that was part of the operation that went in and found Bin Laden, right? And so Chris, what's the guy? Chris, the dude from American Sniper, the guy that they made a movie about that called American Sniper. Chris, does anyone know his name? Anyway, that guy was on his team. Okay, so they did a movie just on him alone. And what was interesting about the beginning of this stuff is they go through like the whole like part of the raids and part of the things that they were doing, and who was in charge of what and how things went down. And there was a situation where they got into a predicament where where it was blue on blue, basically, like it ended up being a crossfire between two Navy SEALs that actually ended up shooting each other, and a couple were injured, and one Iraqi soldier who was fighting with the U.S. right against these terrorists or whatever was shot and killed. So one Iraqi soldier was killed, and other Americans were injured, and it was like a big deal. It was like a huge deal. And he went under investigation. And so he had to like pinpoint, like he had to like debrief, and he had all these different things. And he was trying to figure out, it was like it boggled his mind, like who was to blame, like what went wrong, and all these, all these moving parts. And like each person had their own job and all these things, right? And so he gets into this room and basically was like, all right, so what, and he'd already made up his mind that he had to take full responsibility because he was in charge as a leader, right? And sometimes, right, and I don't go into detail, but basically he went around, so he went around and was like asking, all right, so hey, so who's to blame? And everyone's sort of volunteering, like, oh, well, it was me. And he's like, well, explain. Well, because this, and this. And he goes, nope. And then someone else popped their head up. You know what, it was my fault. This is what happened, And he goes, nope. And everyone went around taking the blame, and he shot them all down. He basically said, nope, none of you guys are to blame. He goes, I'm to blame. And he risked losing his, right, basically being discharged, right? And so this guy now coaches like big companies too. And he tells the story of this manufacturing company, this VP, and the guy was like in sales and ego and all this stuff. He was pointing the finger at his team, like, you know what, I'm going over this. I've gone through the plan. They know exactly what they got to do. They're just not doing it and all this stuff. And he started pointing the fingers. So anyway, the lesson behind this whole concept, at least in the first like 3 chapters, was just taking taking extreme ownership of every situation that you're in. Like seriously, like a lot of times it's, we hear about it, right? Like don't play the, don't play the victim, or don't point the finger. But when you really think about it, there's times, right? There's things that even though you go, oh, you know what, well, I take responsibility, but then you say, but this person could have done this, this person done that, and it's all, really everything really falls on you. Like when you really take ownership, it falls on you. Every single thing that happens, good or bad. And so it's just a great book. I highly recommend you get your hands on it. It's very applicable to WFG. It's huge. I just want to share that with you guys. Definitely recommend you get your hands on that. It's like, and it's pretty cool, some of the battles and the things that they went through, and then how they learned from it, and so there's some really good lessons in there, and then a lot of leadership principles that he backs up and how it relates to business, and he kind of pinpoints different things. It's really good. It's really, really good. So what I wanted to cover with you guys tonight is going through our illustration, right? Going through our Transamerica IUL illustration, okay? How to run a simple illustration. So you have a client, I'm gonna give you guys a scenario right now. Do you guys have iPad? You guys have your iPads, your tablets?
Yes.
So always bring this stuff with you so you're prepared. But what I want you guys to do, and maybe some people do, maybe some people don't, but you can do it from your phone as well. Everyone in here is licensed, right? That's why we're doing a license training. So everyone in here is licensed, so you should be licensed and appointed, and you should be able to go on to Transamerica. So let me give you the website. If you're not on there already, you're gonna go into Premier, and you can just write this down right now, or you can input it into your iPad. It's premier.transamerica.com. Okay? And here, I'll pull this up too, so give me 1 second. So premier.transamerica.com. So I want to give you guys a scenario right now, and then you're gonna run an illustration, okay? And if you've never done it before, I'm going to show you a sample one. Show you a sample one here in a second. But I'm going to give you a scenario. So this is what you're going to do. You're going to take a 30-year-old female. Okay, so just write down the example for a second, and then you can input it. So you're going to take a 30-year-old female. Her income is $50,000 a year. Okay. She is a single mom. 2 kids. Kids are 5 and 2. Okay. Single mom, 30 years old, 50 grand a year. Kids are 5 and 2. She could put away $250 a month. Non-smoker, good health. Height, weights, not an issue. Probably just to start with the preferred quote. Okay. And I want you guys to run an illustration. I want you to run your own illustration on that right now.
The mortgage, no debt?
No, yeah, she rents. Debts, minimal. She, let's just say she has a car, between her car and credit cards, maybe $30,000 to pay off both.
What's the dollar commitment again?
250. 250. Okay. So just to make it easy, we'll just say you're just going to do an IUL for right now. Okay. I'll show you. We'll pull up term LB or whatever. So I think that's a good, good way to add supplemental, or maybe even just a super. Like if you're doing FFI, is everyone here life and health, or who's just life only? Is everyone life and health? Is anybody just life only? Life onlys? Okay. So if you're life only, then you want to do FFIUL and then probably supplement with a term LB to get the living benefit for 30 years. Right? She's 30 years old, covered at age 60 on an LB. At least that's something. You can always maybe rewrite it in 5 or 10 years and extend it, to a little bit older. But at least she'll have something if she ever got disabled or developed any kind of cancer or disease, anything like that. She'd have that. If you're life and health, then I would do a FFIUL with LTC, with an LTC rider, and then and then do the additional coverage on just a regular term Trendsetter Super without the LB. Okay. So if you're life and health, do the FFIUL with LTC and just a regular term. If you're life only, do the FFIUL and then a term LB. Okay. But just for now, just for the sake of now, and as I'm just saying, like in general, but for now, just run an illustration based on just a 250 commitment for an IUL. Okay? You could use your phone too. If you don't have a tablet, use your phone. I run illustration on my phone all the time. I was with Guillermo. I was with Guillermo on Thursday night, and we went and met with a guy, and I was running $2 million. I was running a $2 million quote on my phone in the guy's backyard on my phone, and we ended up writing the policy. How many people are actually doing it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. Watch how, kind of watch, or maybe kind of work together on that or something. And then what I'm going to do, so go through that, and then I'm going to go through mine. I'm going to do one. I'm going to do the same thing on mine, and then I'll show you guys what I came up with, and then we'll get feedback on what you guys ran, and we'll see if we're, we'll see if we're on the same page with everything. Okay. So when I say a 250 commitment, that's like comfortable. That's usually when someone says they can do 500 a month. You know what I mean? Does that make sense, you guys? Like if someone says, oh, I can do 500, you're really probably running an IUL at 250. Let's just be real. You know what I mean? You never want, because everyone wants to brag about, or they think they're cool when they say they can save so much more money. But then it's not cool when 3 months they go, oh, money's tight and I can't do it no more, right? I got a buddy I just wrote up on back in April. I wrote him up. He's like, oh, I can do this much. And I'm like, yeah, dude, way less. And then even still, he's like, bro, I can't make the payment. And I'm like, come on, dude. Like, you said you could do this. I dropped it down like half of that. It was like 500. Oh, I can do 500 easy. It ended up being like a 210 target. And then now he's like on quarterly and already about to lapse. You know what I mean? So make sure that when someone, when people say they can save money, but when push comes to shove, it's the discipline long term. So always shrink it down to where you don't run into a sticky situation, right? And then we'll talk about kind of how to talk. We'll go over how to discuss these things as well, okay?
I have a question, Nick.
Yes.
So on an IUL, if someone says, I can save $200 a month, you do, and for their needs and all that good stuff, you do their policy for the $200 a month and then encourage them to put extra in it? Like
I'm going to
to
show you. So just based on what you've been trained on and what you know so far, they can comfortably save $250 a month. Go. How are you running it? What do you have the target set at? How are you tiering up the monthly payment each year? What's it going to look like on your illustration? And I'm going to show you what mine looks like, and then we'll learn from each other.
Well, are we tearing it up right now? We're just doing this. We're just on for the 250.
No, yeah, but tier it, yeah. Build, yeah, guys, build the illustration. Build the illustration that you can come up here and sell it, right? So yeah, oh yeah, you're tiering it, dude, every single time. Like when I run an illustration, that's game time. That's like sales mode right there. I'm in sales mode. I want to paint a picture of what their life is going to look like, what their financial legacy is going to be when they hit retirement age. Right? You guys know He-Man, right?
Yeah.
Who was the female?
She-Ra.
She-Ra, right?
Yeah.
How do you spell that?
Oh my gosh.
She-Ra?
She-Ra.
S-H-E-R-A.
Yeah.
S-H-E dash R-A?
Yeah.
Okay, that's my client's name. I don't know about you guys. I don't know if you guys know. I got She-Ra on mine. Okay.
You got it?
So,
She's 30.
No, when she's 70,
Oh.
she's showing 1.1 million.
So we already said preferred, right? Yeah. So I wanna learn from you. Like, okay, so why did you do it this way? This is what I did. Now, how did you? What did your number look like? What did you do? What did you put as the coverage? What blah 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 blah, right? Now, there's going to be variations because I said no term, right? Because I said no term, you're going to have to adjust your stuff here. Because if you were to do it with the term, it's going to probably be different on the IUL. But we're talking just IUL. They don't want term at all, nothing. We're not doing no term, okay? In another scenario, which would take more time, we would piggyback it with a term and show you, okay, this is how you structure the IUL based on blending it with a term. But for right now, we're just if you're working with IUL, one product, $250 a month, single mom, 30 years old, makes 50 grand a year, what are you illustrating? What's it going to look like when you sit with the client? Make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Everybody see that? That's easy. That's easy. I just put it in the first thing and boom. Money. So now that some of you guys are already in there, I just barely started mine right now, but how many of you guys are using base insured rider? Is anybody using a base insured? Okay, because I'm looking at a base insured probably too. She makes 50 grand a year. I started with 250. Look at that's a 144 target. I'm gonna see what it is with the base insured rider on there. Well, who's on the same page? Reggie? Okay.
You said you did it for one.
250, the target ends up being 144. Started at 250 a month, right? Now tier that up on your premium. Tier that up from there. Watch, we'll see right now. So here we go. So you're gonna go to solve for specify all, right? And this should be pretty consistent. Like everyone should have a pretty close, a pretty similar type structure to what I'm about to do, or what I'm going to show you guys. You guys should be pretty close to this. Remember, 50,000 a year. 50,000 a year. So think about coverage wise. What coverage are you doing for someone who makes 50 grand a year? $500,000? Right? Pretty close to it. Okay, let's see. Maybe we'll run through one more time. See what we came up with. Okay. Good? Got yours locked in? Locked in?
And keep you satisfied with your plan.
Maybe throw something in the, throw another thing in the mix. 2,500 down. 2,500 points front load. Or I mean $2,500 front load. Front load 2,500. You know where to put that, right?
Yep.
So add 2,500 on the front end. All right, you guys got your numbers?
Yep.
Let's look at it. Let's look at it here. So what I did, you know what, and here's the thing, you can go less, you can go less coverage, maybe. You can maybe do the base insured a little less. You know, this is a single mom. She's got two kids though. She's making 50 grand. She doesn't own a home, or at least maybe we don't have that information yet, or whatever the case may be. I ran it at 250 with also a base insured of 250. That's what I did. Okay? So that put it at 500,000. We did a front load, right? So we started at 250. Let me go back real quick. Let me just close this out. I did it like this. So I did a I did a CVAT increasing on a specify all, and I ran it like this. I ran it like that, just adding $100 a month for the first 5 years. So the first year she does $250 a month, second year she does $350, $450, $550, $650, and then did that up to age 60. Okay? Now yours might look a little different. That's all just going to be on, and this is all just hypothetical if she actually did this throughout, right? She's not committed to that at all. It's only a 144 target. But you see here the 250 commitment, but I didn't run a 220 target either. Right? I ran a 144 target on a 250 contribution amount. So there's overfunding. So if you notice, I mean, even though we put 2,500 in, but look at the cash in day one. I mean, or year one. Got 4,500 bucks in there. Right? I just met with a client who has a whole lot whole life or traditional universal life, and it was 3 years in and had zero cash value here. Had zero in the third year. Where in this one, it's immediate, policy value is immediate right here. Put in 5,500, got 4,500 in cash value year one. With a $500,000 coverage, to have 4,500 off of putting in 5,500, that's $1,000 for the year for a $500,000. That's golden, right? So she's got cash. She's building up cash value like nobody's business, right? So if we look here, we went down to age 60, we stopped contributing, right? Went to age 60, we stopped contributing. So total contribution was 224. Cash value was 557. Total death benefit was $1.4 million at age 60. Now, if we go back from age 60 to age 65, I'll just kind of go off of here because we're far enough down, but so put in 224, never put a penny more in the next 5 years. The 557 over 5 years grew to 756, so it grew another 200 grand just on interest alone. By the way, the cost of insurance is still being deducted as well, so she's still covered, yet she didn't make any more contributions in her 60s, and still it grew 200 grand. By the way, so at age 65, 756 in an IUL tax-free, right, is equivalent to how much in a 401k?
1.4, 1.5.
Let's just say, let's call it 1.2 maybe, right, when you factor in taxes and stuff, about 1.2. So you got about, so how many people at age 65 got equivalent about 1.2 in a 401k? Nobody. Right? And this is starting with a contribution of how much?
250 a month.
250 a month? Right? 250 a month, right? Modal premium, 250 a month. By the way, can she go up? Yeah, she's got a cushion. So she has a cushion to where she can go up as high as 14,000 for the year. So where does this play in? Well, a perfect example of this is, what do you do with your tax return? What do most people do with their tax return? Spend it. Buy a new car, go on a shopping spree, take the family vacation or whatever. So what I tell clients to do is take at least half of the tax return, because most people's tax returns on average about 4 to 5 grand. Most average tax return about 3, 4, 5 grand sometimes, depending on what they claim. Some people file 0 and all this stuff, and and get all the taxes taken out. It's unbelievable. So take half that. So let's say they're getting a 4 grand return. That's another 2 grand that goes in there. What about bonuses? What about a second job? What about whatever? So now she has room. She could put in up to $1,200 a month into this thing, or up to $14,000 a year in here to really build it. So what happens when I show people that they can put up to $14,000 in? Is I'll go, man, what if we really just max this thing out? And I'll show, like, if I know, like, someone, let's say you're sitting down with someone who makes a 6-figure income. I did this with a guy, and actually I'm doing another policy on him. His name's Mike Granados, and his wife's been my client for years. I did his policy, and now I'm going back to do another policy for him. But he was the guy, he's my client now for about, I think I wrote him out like 3 years ago. But what started was I ran a similar thing like this, but he was 38 years old. And we got to his number at age 65, right? And it was like, 700,000 or whatever. And he goes, what would I have to put into this thing to get to 1 million? So we reverse engineered it, and it ended up being to get to $1 million by age 60. So I think at 65 with 700, he goes, how do I get to 1 million by 60? He had to put 1,300 in a month, right, to get to 1 million tax-free by age 60. And so he had only committed to 500 bucks, but when I showed, he goes, well, what would I have to do to get to 1 million? It ended up being 1,300. So now I got this guy not only starting with 500, this was 2 years ago, he went to 600, now he's in his third year, he's at 700, but now he takes extra money and gets that full amount in each year. And his goal, now he's locked in, he has a plan, and no one's ever sat down with him and just said, look, if you do this, this is what you'll have, right? It's the same thing with someone's 401k. They always go through it, right? They know what they're contributing, and they know how the account works. Sometimes they really don't. But no one's really given them a straight track to run on. Like, if you do this, this is likely where you'll end up. By the way, we illustrate this at a what? At a 7.75% on the global index. Okay. What has it done over the last 25 years? As of the closeout of 2017, the last 25 years, where are we at?
A little over 9%.
It's 9.25%. The 25-year average. So we're showing 7.75 flat, where the index is over the last 25 years. By the way, last 25 years, have there been any significant market crashes?
Yes.
How many?
2.
At least 2, right?
3.
You have 2001, right, with 9/11, and you have 2008, right? So 2 major ones, right? So out of those 2, it still managed to do 9.25%. Why? Because you got to keep in mind that when the market in 2008 was negative, right? The global indexes was negative 40%.
Yes.
What does this account do? 0.75, right? 0.75. So this one has the guaranteed of 0.75 with a cap of what? 15% on the global, right? 13.25 on the S&P. Okay, if they want just S&P only. So we're showing them technically we're kind of showing them a conservative average, really is what we're doing. We're saying, hey, you know what, this probably ain't worst case scenario, but it's definitely not best case scenario either. You know what I mean? Because through two significant market crashes, it's done 9.25. So showing you this is pretty realistic, to be honest. Is very, very realistic on what's likely for you to be at. And so, did anybody have anything that was way off from this? It's pretty close to this. Now, if we take, let's just look at the difference, because I didn't get a chance to even do it here on here. But what if we took the rider off? So what if we took this base insured off? How does that affect the cash value, right? Let's look at it just so we know, because this is where we can add the term, right? So if you're just doing IUL, throw the base insured on there. Still get the $500,000, right? They're putting in $250. They're building immediate cash, right? They got immediate cash value, and that's growing, right? But if you're looking at the whole picture and you go, okay, how do I increase the cash value but still get them to $500,000? So let's just take the base insured. Let's see what the difference is. Let's run the same thing. So now let's take it, the same number, right? We front loaded it, okay? We took the base insured off. What was the number at age 60? You guys remember? On the last one?
700,000.
No, at age 60?
Cash, you mean?
Yeah. What was the cash value at age 60 when we had the base insured on there? You guys remember?
757?
It was 757? Was it?
I think so.
Let me pull it back. I thought someone had a memory of an elephant.
I think it was around 450.
Let me see. Let me put it back on, and we'll see right now. Okay, base insured, age 60, the same,
I said that.
it's the same.
Well, one was 557, the other one was 570.
Yeah, so what's the difference, 20 grand?
20 grand.
Well, and that's over how many years though? 30 years? How much they paying on the term over a 30-year period? Have you guys ever looked at it like, hey, does it make more sense to just do a base insured or to write a separate term policy? You know what I mean? How much are they gonna pay on a term over 30 years? By the way, doing a 30-year term, it would have ran out at that same time. At that same time, it would have ran out. So it's 20 grand difference, but what's a term? So now go into your illustration, right? And now you just go right here. Which one is it? Is it oh, you know what? I did life only. I didn't do LTC on here, okay?
How much you doing the term for?
So now we'll do just term 30. Is it the 2015 or 17 one? 15?
Yeah.
On the super?
Yeah.
Okay, so 30, boom here. So boom, you go no, it stores all your stuff. Keeps it the same. That's not the right one. Okay, so it's right here. Boom. No. Yeah, just the super. Yeah, not the LB. Oh wait, oh that's right, yeah, we're doing LB. We're doing LB, sorry. Sorry, my bad. Okay.
37.41.
Change this to female, preferred non-smoker, we're solving at quarter mil, right? Let's look and see what we came up with here. Oh, whoops.
Run at 25 years, it'll still show 30. I don't know why it's doing that.
Oh, it's a Dumac?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Okay, female preferred, boom. Summary. Is there a reason why this is doing it?
I ran at 500,000.
What are we not doing right?
That's right.
You sure? Okay.
Matt.
What?
How come it's saying this here? We're doing a 30-year term LB.
Oh, change the premium mode. That's what it's saying.
Monthly.
Oh.
PAC.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah.
Monthly pack.
Yeah, yeah, that's what it is. So right here. Go monthly
Yeah,
piece,
there
that's
you go.
exactly what it is, yep, okay. So here we go.
All right.
There you go.
Okay, 30 years, term LB, 250, $22. $22. So annual is 257. So take 257 times 30 years. Do the math.
Less than 20, 30.
Obviously, yeah.
717.
How much is it?
717. You said 22 times 30.
2215. 2215 times 12 times 30. That's $7,974.
Okay, so 7,000. So it would be more cost effective to do the 250
Plus a base insurance.
plus, no.
Oh,
It'd make more
yeah.
sense to do this,
They're separate, yeah.
right?
Two separate
But let's
policies.
look at it,
$8,000 difference.
let's look at it as the client got older though, because I think that's maybe where the difference was. What do you
Yeah.
think? Think that's where the difference is?
Yeah, cost of insurance.
Cost of insurance, let's look at it at 75, compare the two. You guys know how to do that? Watch, so go back again. Watch this. FIUL, boom. 250, guideline increasing, base insured. Oh shoot, it's
So
not
the
gonna-
term
I
stays
didn't
on,
hear it yet, hold on.
the base insured term that's in the IUL stays on till she's 100?
You could do it for as long as you want. You could do it less. You could do it to 85. Or whatever you want the base insured to fall off. It's really kind of a term attached to it.
You
The
do
term
that for me?
attached to it. The term attached to it. So, so we look at this, let's look at it. So, what, you wanna put 85? It's not letting me put 85, okay.
I think you just put in the,
Hell yeah, you see my grandma?
It froze. It froze. Does everyone know how to do this though? Like, I mean, the main thing of this is like getting familiar with how to get in here, play with it, know exactly what you're looking to do, et cetera, et cetera. What questions come up on the illustration right now in your head? Any things you're not clear on?
I just didn't know about the base insurance.
When to add that in
When to add it?
versus.
How many costs it?
I think what it does is where a good time to add a base insured is in that scenario. You know, you're looking at a client that needs $500,000, but it can only save $250 a month, and you still wanna overfund. So, because look, let's just look at it like this. If you have no base insured on here, right, so it's zeroed out, but you take the coverage, and we go to $500,000. So keep in mind, you're like, oh, client makes 50 grand a year, client needs $500,000.
Right.
Client needs $500,000. But the client can only put in $250 a month, right? So now let's look at this, right? We're gonna go increasing, right, because we're gonna tier it up.
Nick,
Let's
that's
just look
still-
at it.
That's set on a mail, just so you
Oh,
know.
was it? Okay, let me go back. I think it reset, okay.
Yeah, reset.
Okay, 30. Female, preferred, okay. At $500,000 monthly,
Probably 300.
282.
Right.
So you see what I'm saying?
Right.
Oh.
So it doubles versus what we had with the base insurance. So we went down to 250, it was 144, but now you can still get
So you have the base insurance.
add the base insured to add the coverage up a little bit more.
She has 2 kids.
But it is a term.
She also has kids.
Yeah, she got the kids.
But terms
So you can
200
do,
versus
yeah,
terms.
Add a
okay.
rider.
So let's do this.
So do
Let's do this.
250,
Yeah.
250 plus the child benefit.
Let's
rider.
do the benefit rider. What do you guys usually do the benefit rider at?
10 units.
10,000?
10 units, yeah, so that's
I do
10,000.
15 myself. I use 15
And how long is a child covered for?
Until they're 18.
until they're 18.
After they're 18, it falls off.
So it went up a couple bucks. What was it, 282? So it went $7 more,
Wow.
and that covers as many kids as they have
Can they?
for 15,000
once they
each.
turn 18, can they just go
They have to get their own, policy.
So here's the deal. You're probably not doing a child rider if your kid has its own IUL, right? So if your client's gonna do an IUL for their children, then no use in paying the extra money for the rider on the policy.
So we did it with.
You know what I mean? And you can't do term for kids.
With 2 IULs, 100,000 for each kid was $34.31. If you
Okay.
brought down.
Oh, if you did, okay. So there you go. So they already ran the numbers. What was the coverage on that?
100,000.
100,000 on each?
For each
Okay.
kid.
What's the max though on those? Have you looked at the max?
As far as,
See, be careful when you do only 100,000 on a child. I don't like doing 100,000 on a child because if they really wanna save for college or even supplement
you gotta look
college.
like 300 to 400.
Yeah, like I do, I mean, I have 250 on my kids, and I feel I don't have nearly enough coverage just based on what I wanna overfund and put in their policies, you know? Don't feel guilty like, oh, does a kid need that much? Cause that's what people think naturally. Like, oh, but it's for the purpose of being able to put more money in there.
Yeah, you guys gotta realize too, like what Nick's talking about, if the kids need a certain amount of life insurance coverage to make sure it's big enough, that means the parents eventually, they have to get a bigger policy. Cause the most you can cover a child, in all reality, is $1 million, but even then, that's questionable, because then there's,
Anything over a half.
yeah,
Wait, over 250? Over 250 or a half?
half.
You need to, okay, so over a half, you need to have a letter. You have to submit a letter from the client stating kind of like the purpose of the policy
Plus,
and why.
they're gonna ask for financials.
Yeah, and they're gonna want financials. But think about it, I mean, you cover a child for $1 million, I mean, that's gonna be questionable, you know?
Right.
Why, yeah.
But when you do 100,000, you can't even put $100 in a month into that thing, barely, right? What's the,
Yes.
what's the guideline annual on a 100,000 policy for a 5-year-old? 1,500. So you put in 120 a month. You know what I mean? So you can't take any extra money, and, you know, put in there. You're somewhat kind of limited, and so however you run the numbers, you can't tier it up. It's just
It's just straight out.
100. It's just 100 a month, which is fine. I'm better than not having anything. Don't get me wrong. Not trying to say downplay it. I mean, it's a great product, and the younger they are, the better. And $100 will be fine. But you get into a situation where it's like the child's 9 years old, and now they can only do $100. They don't have that much time, and they don't have enough money, going in there.
Parent just needs a bigger policy.
Say the parent has to have.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or you get securities license and you do some other investments. So maybe do 100,000, but then do something else to get them saving.
Is that,
Just depends on if they're like solely relying on you to help their child go to college, or they just want something supplemental and maybe they want the IUL so they can go on and, they have insurance and they have coverage, and they want to get married, have kids, they have a policy.
Nick,
Because that's kind of what I did mine for. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'll have other cash for their college, but I got it to where they don't ever have to requalify for life insurance. And they can take on that policy when they go on to get married and have kids, and they want to use cash value, based on, I'm gonna, reward system, right? Hey, you get straight A's, we'll pull from your IUL to help you with the down payment for a car. You get straight A's, okay, hey, I'm gonna, I'll eventually trade this over to you. But for now, I'm the owner, I'm the payer, that's my cash. You're the insured. If you do this, and this policy can and will be yours. But if you don't, it's my policy.
Nick, right now you said if you have your securities, is there any time there's parents that just have an IUL and they want bigger investment for their child and you have securities, you would have to be able to do that?
Yeah, you could do 529s, you could do a Roth, Roth IRAs, mutual funds, whatever it is.
Yeah, you can do custodial accounts.
You could
for-
do, and then you could, use the Trans.
Trans Alpha.
One, Trans Alpha, Trans One, platform too. Any other questions on this? So we ran the term. Again, if you're life only, right, you're probably doing an IUL, term LV. If you're life and health, do the LTC because they'll always have it. The only problem I've seen with LV is that, so I did a VUL back in the day, and then when LV came out, I did an LV. But by the time you actually need typically, by the time you need living benefit, usually the terms has ran out. Because it's someone that's maybe younger. Now I did an LV for a 58-year-old, but it was 53-year-old. Her mom had Parkinson's, and she was already paying like crazy money to have a nurse just come in for a couple hours a day and just help her get up and down, like, and stuff. Just kind of help her around the house and stuff, just for a few hours. I was paying an arm and a leg. And she goes, I don't want to put that burden on my kids because she's going through that. She's got to do all this work to help her mom that has Parkinson's. So she took out a policy, an LB. She's 53. She took out a 30-year LB. But here's the thing: it was $435 a month. That was the target. But what she's paying out in nursing care to this was a $500,000. Yes, it was a $500,000 LB for a 53-year-old, and it came out to $435 a month. But she's like, that's
Cheaper.
that's cheaper I'd rather pay the $400 a month than have to pay out thousands of dollars in nursing care, right? And then she has a $500,000 of life insurance too. So if something happens to her prematurely, $500,000 get paid out. If she ever develops anything or whatever, then she has, depending on the condition, up to 90% of the $500,000, which would be $450,000 that she could use to only have to pay $400 a month. I mean, you guys heard this. You guys heard the story of Albert, right? Yeah. So one of our agents, Elizabeth, her ex-husband, she wrote a policy on, and preferred plus rating, mid 40s, yep. 45 years old, 44 years old, and his premium was like 70 something bucks a month. about 7 months into his policy on a Preferred Plus rating, diagnosed with leukemia. So he got diagnosed with leukemia, and just one pill was $500 a month.
$500 a month.
Just one of the medications. And when you have medical insurance, it doesn't cover everything.
Nope.
So some of those medical costs come out of pocket. So $500 a month. Well, she's paying $70. So he got a check from Transamerica with the diagnosis of leukemia. He got a check for $400,000. He made 7 payments of $70-something. He's going to pay less than $500 into this thing, right? He gets diagnosed, and Transamerica cuts him a check for $400,000. By the way, he's cancer free, right? It's in remission. He's good to go. He still has to do checkups and do his stuff, but it's kind of like, oh man, that's awesome. It's like, well, no, I mean, no one wants to get diagnosed with leukemia either. But in that scenario, it would be awesome to know that, hey, my $500 investment, Transamerica cut me a check for $400,000.
Peace of mind, yeah.
The peace of mind. I mean, think about, how detrimental that would be to a family if they don't have that stuff. So Elizabeth was able to move into a bigger house to have him move in with her. So she was helping him, right, with going through his chemo and all that stuff. She had to take time off of work, so she basically took a leave of absence, but had $400,000 to work with to cover the medical costs, to move into the bigger house, to to pay her immediate bills while she was on leave because of, right? And she was doing that for an ex-husband. They have a kid, they have a child together, so it's, baby daddy, right? But still, and baby daddy, but still, it's a pretty cool thing to do. She didn't have to do that stuff. She didn't have to do it. But she was the one that wrote the policy, so it's kind of cool, right? That she did that. And, someone had just posted something about Life Insurance Awareness Month and was like, no one thinks the insurance salesman is too pushy at a funeral. Right? Or no one thought the insurance salesman was too pushy when they're sitting there at the funeral. That's what the quote said. I was like, damn, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
I need to find that one.
But think about that for a second, right? Because everyone knows, oh, you're trying to sell me insurance. Yeah. Yeah, trying to sell you insurance. Trying to look out for you, right? So, pretty cool. This is just extra. We make it look sexy with all the cash value and tax-free and guarantees and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, if something happens anywhere along this time, depending on if they pulled out anything or whatever, this is not even tearing it up. This is just showing target. But just, for example, someone puts in $96,000 of premiums over a 30-year period, but it pays out $682,000 to the family. Life insurance is one of the best investments out there. When you talk about really legacy planning. And what's amazing too is that people are saving money for retirement, but they don't realize life insurance covers if you die too soon, that your family still gets the money that you would have saved in retirement if you would have lived.
Yep.
So it's just like, hey, you know what, instead of it just being all, hey, cut off, show's over, breadwinner passed away, all the money that we were going to be dependent upon later down the road, gone. No, the insurance kicks in and goes, hey, all that money that the breadwinner was going to make and save and invest for retirement, we got you covered right here in the form of a death benefit. Boom! Yeah.
Yeah, so when you deliver your policies, make sure you read that I am your life insurance.
Yep.
Yes.
Because that lets you know, hey, when I stop working, life insurance starts working.
Yep, that's
Yeah. You guys all have that?
Yeah.
You guys have that? You guys know what that is?
Yep.
Who doesn't?
Vaguely remember it.
Okay, so get a color copy. Matt's probably already looking for it right now.
All right, who's got an iPhone or an iPad?
Can you put it up here right now? Can you,
Yeah.
Can you drop it? Okay, here, I'll take it off. So it's like a letter from your life insurance policy? Yeah, right here.
Bam.
Oh, wow.
So have your client read this out loud when you deliver the policy.
Yep. Next to there, 3 reasons why.
So you got your 3 reasons why they got it, because again, people forget, right? They're going through approval. Now all of a sudden you're delivering the policy, like, what did I do? Like, how's this thing work? 3 reasons why. Hey, why'd you get this? Oh, that's right. I got it for a legacy. I got it for income replacement. I got it to do this, or to tax-free, to save extra money, whatever, right? But it says here, I am your life insurance policy. You and I have similar purposes in this world. It is your job to provide food, clothing, shelter, schooling, medicine, and other things for your loved ones. You do this while I lie in your safe deposit box. I have faith and trust in you. Out of your earnings will come the cost of my upkeep. At times I may appear insignificant to you, but someday, and who knows when, you and I will change places. When you are laid to rest, I will come alive and do your job. I may provide food, clothing, shelter, schooling, medicine, and other things your family will continue to need, just as you are doing now. When your work and labor are done, mine will begin. Through me, your hands can carry on. When you feel the price you're paying for my upkeep is burdensome, remember that I can do more for you and your family than you will ever do for me. If you do your part, I will do mine. Sincerely, your life insurance policy. Right? Boom. So, so make that a part of your, even if you're on the, let's say you got a client on the fence, use that as a closing, use that as part of your closing technique. Mind if I read this letter to you? Someone says they don't see value in insurance, they don't believe in it, Sancho, whatever, right? Hey, how many appointments at a 10 do you get Sancho?
Yeah.
Couple, maybe?
A lot of
Yeah, depending on who you're sitting with, yeah, but it comes up. Right? Sancho?
But they do see older and they
Yeah,
that I'm
yeah.
not gonna do it.
Well, that's what it is. That's what it is. It's the, it's a macho, right? It's the, yeah.
But you rather be.
All right, if anybody's on an iPad right now, you better turn it on.
How do I
They're afraid that when they pass away, if they leave their family any money, that the next man up, right, the next guy that slips onto the scene is gonna spend that money. Is gonna reap the benefit of that money. It's like, well, hey, check this out. Your spouse won't need a Sancho if she's already got her own money. If she don't, then someone's gonna be sliding in the mix a lot quicker.
Right. I'm gonna put that in my Everest. You bring the sunshine in the house, you're cut off.
Put it in your trust.
Money goes to the kid.
I don't see the iPad.
So, okay, good stuff.
Yes.
Matt, did you share it to mine? Can you?
Got you.
What do you see on mine?
Boom. iBooks.
Turn on your AirDrop.
If you guys have an iPhone, you have AirDrop, you AirDrop, so he just AirDropped it to me, I have it in my iBooks right here, boom. Quick, and now I can go to my printer and I can print this out. Right?
Guys, just get with the program. Get an iPhone and an iPad.
If you don't have an iPhone, you're behind the times.
$1 trillion company.
First $1 trillion company out there. Amazon just did it, yeah.
They just have my scene dictate. So as soon as I get it, I'll send
Swan Wynn has an iPhone, you guys, okay?
Ed's got an iPhone.
Ed, Rich,
Rich.
Penny Hoy.
Okay, Thomas.
You want me to do it? Thanks, sir.
In alignment, in total alignment.
We need a picture with a blackboard in the back. Good one.
Good stuff?
Yes.
How you guys feeling?
Awesome.
Good. All right. So hey, while we're talking to licensed people, how fast should you be booking labs when you're meeting with a client?
24 to 48 hours.
With the client in the house. With the client in the house. Not meaning you're scheduled, like call the examiner over, which by the way, that's a new technology. We're gonna create an Uber paramedic. So now you're with the client writing up the policy, and you right? You shoot the paramed person right over there and just do the medical right there on the spot while you're filling out the app. Some of you guys that still have full-time jobs, why don't you just get your phelototomist license and do that? Supplemental income, writing insurance policies and doing lab work.
Hey, does anybody know somebody that can code?
Or why don't we just start our own medical exam company, and everyone that's in here that still has a job, you go get your license, and now everyone that does policies all keeps it within the house, and now we do this, and now we go, now you do business with other people, you build your team, and now we make money not only off the policy, but we make money off the lab work too.
I'll help set up the corporation.
I think the course is only like $3,000.
What do you have to pay a phlebotomist? What's a phlebotomist make on a lab work?
Yeah, $15 an hour.
No, it's not an hour. I think you just pay them $10.99 per exam. Per exam,
Yeah,
$30,
it's not per hour.
$35.
Yeah.
What does Transamerica pay? What do they pay them to do? What do they pay a company to send someone out? How much? 120?
Yeah, at least.
How much?
At least.
At least 120?
At least $100
So I don't know if it's worth it or not. I mean, you have to crunch the numbers and see.
Within the office under supervised
We'll recruit
doctors.
them.
You need a license, you need a call, you need a log, you need to be able to track, you need
Yeah,
software.
track, and then you slow down your own.
Well, I'm just saying, whose company are you trying to build anyways? Yours or someone else at a job that you're at right now anyways? I'm just throwing out ideas, you guys. I mean, I'm always thinking of stuff. But so anyway, lab's done right away. What about extended requirements? How fast should you get those done?
ASAP.
Right away. So if you already have business submitted, you need to be going on to Transamerica and checking the outstanding requirements. Sometimes they'll say, oh, we need a copy of the driver's license, but you sat there for 2 weeks going, the client's calling you, hey, am I approved yet? Or your labs have been done, and there's a requirement sitting in there and and you're not checking. Remember, you're an independent contractor. By the way, when do you get your pay? You get 40% when you submit, but when do you get the 60? Delivery. Well, how fast, what determines the delivery? You. Approval. Approval. So if you're sitting on requirements for even an extra week or even an extra couple days, that's prolonging your pay. Every day is prolonging your pay that you don't fulfill outstanding requirements. Right? You gotta be on top of that stuff. Okay? Let me ask you another question. Do you know how to explain how the first draft works?
Yep.
When the first draft's gonna happen, when the next draft is gonna happen, right? How soon they're gonna get approved, what kind of communication do you have with your client during that process? What does that look like? Or you got that tightened up?
Yep.
Who doesn't have that? Who doesn't know that 100%? Few people? Okay. You let them know that they're going to be going through an approval process. That the company is going to be drafting the first premium upon submission of the policy. This is how we issue them what's called a conditional receipt. Okay, it's with the first premium. That gives them conditional coverage during approval. Okay. What if they don't get approved during the approval process? What happens to the money that they put in?
100%
They get back. They get 100%, right? They get 100% of that premium back, right? Okay? So if we were to submit a policy today, the premium's gonna get taken out when?
Tomorrow. So
If we submit it tonight, when would it come out?
Friday. Thursday.
Thursday, probably Thursday or Friday. Let them know though. Tell them sooner than later. They'll say, oh, it's gonna come out Friday, and then it gets drafted Thursday, and it throws them off. Okay? All right. So premium gets drafted on Thursday. When's the next premium gonna get drafted? On approval. Well, how long is approval gonna take, and when is that next premium gonna come out? So today's what, the 4th?
Yep.
So today's the 4th. They select the 20th for their for their draft date. Policy gets approved at the end of the month.
October 20th.
The October
Over the
20th.
following.
So September. So next month on the 20th, their next payment's gonna come out, right?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know how to word that? You know how they feel they know that up front. There's no gray area, there's no, well, I thought this, or I didn't know. So the point I'm saying is make sure you have full disclosure on how everything works. You don't want no surprises, you guys. Keep in touch with your clientele. Keep in touch with them. Keep in touch with your clients. These are these are people you're gonna be talking to on a regular basis, right? So you let them know how everything's gonna go down. So hey, this is the next step, right? It's gonna go through, right, so we have to do your medical. Once you do the medical, if any requirements come through, I'm gonna be notified of requirements. I'm gonna contact you to fulfill those requirements, get your policy approved. They're drafting the first premium. It'll probably come out Thursday, maybe Friday, but expect it, by Thursday, okay? That's your first premium. That covers you, right? So you're going through all the moving parts. As soon as you get approved, I'm gonna get notified. I'm gonna let you know that you're gonna get approved. Once you're approved, then the policy is gonna get issued and get mailed to my office. Okay, when I receive the policy, I will contact you to schedule delivery to go over your policy. You'll need to sign a couple, a policy delivery, et cetera, right? At that time, here's a referral card. I'd like you to, list the, by that time you've already gone over referrals. You've probably already gotten some up front, but definitely on delivery, you should be getting more referrals. Right? So make sure you incorporate that throughout your presentation to get referrals during, after, delivery, right? I mean, you do a really good job. I mean, you'd be surprised. I have clients that call me going, hey, my neighbor wants to do a policy. Remember Maria Luong?
Yep. Oh yeah, I
Maria
remember she came
referred
and
me like
spoke.
7, 8 people.
Yeah.
She came and spoke at our office as a satisfied, customer.
Can I add to that thing?
Yes.
Also,
Matt's really good at all client relations too.
so here's the other thing you want to do too, is you guys have heard me say this before, go get in front of the beneficiaries. So if they list, let's say they list their brother and their sister as beneficiaries, say, okay, I need their contact info, I need you to text them or call them right now. I want to schedule an appointment to visit with them, explain them how your policy works, because I'm your writing agent. If something happens to you, they want to know who to call right away. Why not build a relationship right up front? And then when you explain how an IUL works or a living benefit term, they're like, I really like that, or I don't have that, how do I qualify for that? That's another app that you're writing, and then they're gonna give you a different set of beneficiaries. You do the same thing over and over and over again.
That's gold.
How many policies do you think you've written just from meeting with beneficiaries in your career?
Probably at least 30 or 40. At least 30 or 40.
You guys with it?
Yes.
Feeling good about what you're doing for people? Use this license. I mean, this should be on a regular, you guys. You should be having these kinds of, if you're not running illustrations, you're not writing business. You gotta get to illustration. You get someone that you sit down with and they go, oh, thank you for your time. It's like, hey, let me just run numbers for you. Let me just show you what this would look like. Tell you what, let's do this. I love saying that. Tell you what, let's do this. Let me run numbers for you just to see what it looks like. Then you'd be surprised because now I'm in sales mode. Even if they're like, oh, thanks for the training. Oh, that was great. Oh, well, thank you very much. And they're like, you know what I mean? Like, you have those clients. You could be trying to interact, or maybe you're trying to ask questions and they're real brief, they're real standoffish, they don't want to disclose information. When it gets down to the end and they're just kind of like, all right, are you done, kind of a thing. You have clients that kind of are in that kind of mode. That's where you go, hey, tell you what, I'd love to just run numbers for you, show you what this would look like for you. Just to see. And then when you paint the picture, you go through it. Look how many people can start with $200 a month and have $700,000 tax free at retirement. Wait, oh, so what did you say you had again? You said you had a 401k? Well, what do you think's better, that or what I'm showing you here? Oh yeah, you're right. Well, how would I get this? Well, the guys approved, driver's license, right?
Yep. That's right.
Start breaking this thing down, right? You gotta start having these conversations, you guys. Here's the deal with this. Here's the main thing. If you don't meet with them, no one else will.
It's true.
No one else is gonna do it.
True.
Think about that. People are gonna look back and go, man, I wish you would have talked to me, or I'm glad you did. Or I wish you would have followed up with me, or I'm glad you did. What do you want that conversation to be like years down the road? That's why every single one, if you know someone you have not met with yet, this is a great month to do it. It's Life Insurance Awareness Month. A great month to have that, that going on for yourself, right? And that's an industry thing. Post, do a post or do something, or maybe send an email or put it on your story or whatever on social media, something. But here's the thing, that's not enough. You can't just blast it and people are like, hey, I want insurance. It's still one of those things. It's still one of those things where, hey, no one thought that the insurance salesman was too pushy with, when they sat at the funeral, right? Yeah, go ahead.
I was reading, I
Stand
read
up,
it a
stand
long
up.
time, I read it like a long time ago. It's like, if every wife knew what every widow knows, no family would ever go without life insurance. It's like most wives don't buy life insurance, but most widows wish they had. So
Yeah.
when you're sitting across, it's always like comes down to that. Just like if you just add it in there, I would just read it the other day. You guys really, I know you guys really taking a serious look at it. But let me tell you what most people really wish they did. Even though
Yeah.
they're like contemplating, that can just close it right there.
Let me give you another tool too. You guys ever heard of mortgage insurance?
Yep.
Well, mortgage insurance, it's the same premium, but it only covers the mortgage. So as the mortgage goes down, the coverage goes down, but it's still the same monthly premium.
Yeah.
So it's a decreasing term with no cash accumulation. So even if you just so right now you're like, oh, I know people. So there's two types of people out there. People that have insurance that don't know how it works or don't have enough, and then people that don't have it that need it, right? And then there's people that own homes that you can just go, hey, you have mortgage insurance? I mean, let's say something happened to you. Would you like to, you think your kids are gonna take over the payment? No, they'd probably just sell it. Well, what do you owe? Well, I'm upside down, or it's not that much, or what, oh, they live in it, they figure it out. Like, well, what if you were just able to pay it off? Or if they have a spouse, right? Like, hey, I'd like to be able to have this paid off where you don't have to worry about it. You guys are both dependent upon each other's income, right? A lot of households are dual income nowadays, right? Dual income. So, hey, if one, God forbid, but if one was to pass away, you're both dependent upon each other's income right now to pay your bills. If one passes, how much harder is it for the one's, the surviving spouse to pick up the slack? Well, shoot, I'd have to go get 3 jobs. I'd have to go marry the first guy I meet. Think about that. I'm being completely honest. That's what happens, you guys. That's what happens. Move in with the in-laws.
Marry the first guy I meet.
You know what I mean, though? I'm just saying. I'm just saying. It happens. It happens, and you'd be surprised, right? My brother's paid two death claims. My brother's not even in the company. So the running joke is that if you really want to, if you don't want to die, buy insurance from me, okay? Because in over 10 years of being insurance licensed and all the policies I've written, no one's ever passed away on me yet. I've never paid a death claim yet. My brother was here for like months, and he's paid 2, right? And so, and one was his wife's best friend, 25 years old. There was floods in Chino.
Yep.
Floods in Chino, and there was a road that was blocked off. The lock was on, someone had opened the lock to get through, but now it created a flood like a river, and her and her friend or boyfriend drove right down the road into the river, and he had to be airlifted. He had to be airlifted out, and she was found like a quarter mile down the riverbed, passed away. And when my brother wrote the policy, they were calling my sister-in-law going, why did your husband sell Lindsay a life insurance policy? She doesn't need life insurance. She's 25 years old. And then 2 years later, she died in the floods. And guess who was the first person calling? My brother, saying, hey, did Lindsay still have that policy? Her parents. Right? The other one was a teammate. I matched up a fast start.
Oh, yeah, I know this story.
I matched up a fast start. And Oscar, you remember Oscar and Nora? They came in around the same time as you. They lived down in Wildemar.
Yeah, I
Came in
remember.
around the same time as you, originally, back in the day.
I remember them.
So Oscar and Nora Vasquez, they were in the business, mid-40s, no prior heart anything. I was going to go do the fast start. I had to match up. I sent my brother to go fast start them. He wrote them up on a $450 $350,000 VUL, right? And he was at the soccer field. He used to coach soccer. He wasn't actually playing soccer. He was coaching at the time, and just had a heart attack. 44 years old, out of nowhere, no prior heart, nothing. He got approved and everything, and short time later, he was self-employed electrician, no life insurance. And because he became a client, which we ask all our agents to do, life ran its course, and he had a heart attack. And my brother issued a death claim, a check for $350,000 to Nora. They had 2 kids in high school. They had a mortgage on a house in there in Wildemar. Was able to stay in the same home, keep the kids in the same high school. She was just worked at a dental. She was like a dental assistant. But imagine if she doesn't have the coverage. Imagine if he doesn't have the coverage. Self-employed electrician, no life insurance. She's got a mortgage and 2 kids in high school on a dental assistant income. Pretty difficult situation to be in, right? So think about the peace of mind there. Money doesn't doesn't bring them back, but it sure does allow someone to properly grieve.
Right.
Right? Take time off of work, cover the funeral expenses, pay off some other expenses, use some for other things, right? Extended leave, things like that. You guys with me?
Yes.
All right, good stuff.
Yes.